The world we live in today breathes instability, and your heart knows this truth. You feel it resonating in your spirit as the signs around us multiply day after day. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be present at the moment when Jesus first revealed his teachings about the rapture? Imagine yourself among his disciples, hearing words so extraordinary and transformative that they would shake the very foundation of your faith. A revelation that would separate the watchful from the distracted, the prepared from the inattentive, the ready from those asleep. This was Jesus' first teaching about the rapture, a message whispered openly, yet hidden in the depths of his wisdom. From the moment he uttered these words, the call to be ready ceased to be merely a suggestion and became a spiritual imperative, a lifeline for every believer. Today I want to take you back to that sacred moment, to reveal what Jesus really said, what he truly meant, and how his instruction applies to you right now, in this exact moment of your life. Because the rapture isn't just a distant prophecy, it's a divine promise, a future reality that carries eternal significance. Understanding this first instruction isn't merely an academic exercise, it's transformative. It was designed to awaken your spirit, ignite your faith, and guide you to a posture of readiness, anticipation, and hope. As we explore Jesus' words together, you'll perceive the urgency in his voice, the clarity in his purpose, and the depth of his love. You'll discover why he wanted his followers to live differently, to prepare in a way that transcends mere religious routine. This is more than prophecy. It's a call to awaken, to embrace a life completely surrendered, fully alert, and wholly alive to the promise of his coming. Today I invite you to open your heart, to listen attentively, and to see the rapture through the eyes of Jesus himself. The first instruction that changes everything for those who believe. The hidden context of Jesus' teaching must be understood first. When we think of the rapture, we often imagine a sudden, dramatic event that will one day occur in the clouds, separating believers from the world. But to truly understand Jesus' first instruction, we need to return to the exact moment he pronounced it, to the context in which his words were given. The world around him was turbulent, filled with political unrest, religious hypocrisy, and the weight of human sin pressing upon every corner of society. His disciples were listening, trying to comprehend the meaning of his parables, attempting to understand the kingdom he had come to establish. Yet even among them, there was confusion, hesitation, and a struggle to see the future through the lens of eternity. And in this specific setting, Jesus began to speak not of kingdoms made by men, not of temporary victories, but of a divine event that would surpass all human understanding. His first instruction about the rapture was hidden in plain sight. It was delivered not as a spectacle, but as a lifeline, a warning and a promise wrapped in his usual clarity and authority. Many would have missed this message if not for the attentive ear and the heart willing to understand. Jesus spoke to reveal readiness, vigilance, and faithfulness. He knew that human attention is fleeting, that the heart is easily distracted, and that even the most devoted can become complacent. His first instruction wasn't a prophecy to be memorized as history. It was a call to action, a divine command to live in a way that reflects eternity. The disciples may not have fully understood every word, but he planted the seed of awareness, a seed that would grow into anticipation, hope, and preparation for generations to come. And it is this seed that we are called to nurture today. For the rapture isn't a matter of speculation. It's a divine reality, a promise from the one who holds time, history, and eternity in his hands. Understanding this context allows us to comprehend why Jesus' words are urgent and why ignoring them isn't an option. He was speaking to those who would follow him, those who would carry his message to the ends of the earth and ultimately to you. This hidden context also shows the depth of his love. Jesus didn't reveal the rapture to create fear or confusion. He revealed it to prepare his children, to awaken the hearts of those who would listen, and to instill a readiness that transcends human understanding. In a world that changes daily, where uncertainty lurks around every corner, his instruction shines like a beacon guiding believers to remain steadfast, alert, and unshakable in faith. To miss this context is to miss the essence of his message. But to understand it is to see his wisdom, his purpose, and his desire, that we live completely prepared. The hidden context reminds us that the rapture isn't just a distant event to wait for. It's a present call to live in the light of eternity, to allow each day to be influenced by the knowledge that Jesus could return at any moment. Jesus' words and their true meaning are deeper than many realize. When Jesus first spoke about the rapture, his words were deliberate, precise, and filled with meaning that transcends the surface. He used language that captured both the immediacy of the moment and the eternal scope of what was to come. He spoke of vigilance, readiness, and the unexpected nature of his return. "Therefore be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect," he said, words that were simple yet charged with divine wisdom. These weren't casual observations. They were instructions meant to shape lives, awaken hearts, and instill a sense of urgency that would echo through the centuries. Every phrase he spoke carried a spiritual weight that demanded attention. The true meaning of his words lies in understanding that readiness isn't a passive state. It isn't just waiting or hoping that one will be taken. It's a posture of the heart, a way of living that reflects the holiness, devotion, and faithfulness he desires from his followers. Being ready is being spiritually awake, living each day with the awareness that the eternal intersects with the temporal, and allowing your life to be governed by the principles of his kingdom rather than the fleeting concerns of the world. Misinterpretations abound, as many have reduced his instruction to mere speculation or timelines, but the essence is relational, personal, and transformative. Jesus was calling his disciples and calling us to a life of engagement, of ongoing preparation, and of unwavering hope. He spoke in symbols and parables that alluded to deeper truths. The oil lamps kept burning, the servants remaining watchful, the bridegroom returning unexpectedly. All were images meant to convey spiritual readiness and the need for a vigilant heart. These weren't abstract stories. They were mirrors for our lives today. They remind us that the rapture isn't an event to be feared, but a reality to be anticipated, and that our response should be rooted in faith, discernment, and the active pursuit of righteousness. Every word he spoke was permeated with love, urgency, and a call to action. When we listen closely to his first instruction about the rapture, we realize that it is both comforting and challenging. Comforting because it assures us of his return and his faithfulness in gathering his people. Challenging because it demands vigilance, self-examination, and a commitment to live in a state of readiness that's often uncomfortable in a world that promotes ease and complacency. To understand the true meaning of his words is to align our lives with his purposes, to awaken from spiritual slumber, and to embrace the life of expectancy he designed for every believer. The depth of his instruction calls us not just to understanding, but to transformation, to allow his words to shape our daily walk, our decisions, and our relationship with him. Signs and conditions leading to the rapture cannot be ignored. Jesus didn't just give a single instruction about the rapture and leave it at that. He painted a picture of what life would be like as the time drew near. He spoke of signs, subtle and evident, that would reveal the season. Yet he warned that many would miss them, blinded by distraction, doubt, or the allure of the world. Wars, rumors of wars, famines, persecution, and lawlessness were all markers he pointed to. But more than these external signs, he emphasized the spiritual conditions of the heart. The rapture isn't triggered merely by events in the world. It's governed by the preparedness of God's people, those who are watchful, devoted to prayer, and walking in obedience. Jesus called his disciples to examine themselves, to consider the state of their hearts, and to live as those who know that eternity is closer than the next dawn. He often spoke of watchfulness, of being awake while others sleep. The servants who kept their lamps burning weren't passive. They were active in faith, ready to respond at any moment. This watchfulness isn't just about waiting. It's about living with purpose. It's about a heart attuned to God's voice, a life aligned with his will, and a faith unwavering through tribulations. Jesus warned about deception, about those who would try to lead believers astray. And yet, the true sign of readiness isn't just knowledge of prophecy, but an intimate relationship with him. Those who are ready are marked by their love for him, their obedience to his word, and their discernment of the times. Holiness is another condition Jesus emphasized. The world may grow careless, reckless, and indulgent, but his followers are called to a life of purity, integrity, and devotion. The rapture doesn't reward casual belief or lukewarm commitment. It's a gathering of those who are devoted, those who walk faithfully in the Spirit, and those whose lives reflect the character of Christ. Each day becomes a test, a chance to prove that our faith is genuine, that our hearts are aligned with God's purposes, and that we're ready to meet him at any moment. Jesus made it clear, readiness isn't optional. It's a divine expectation, a spiritual posture, and a lifeline for those who desire to be with him when he returns. The signs and conditions leading to the rapture are both a warning and an invitation. They warn us about the dangers of distraction, of living in complacency, and of missing the moment when eternity intersects with time. They invite us to deeper devotion, to a faith that's alive, alert, and expectant. The rapture is a promise of hope, a call to awaken, and a divine opportunity to live in the reality of eternity even now. Jesus' first instruction isn't just prophecy, it's a roadmap for living a life that anticipates his return, a life vibrant with faith, and a life that will be ready when the moment comes. How the early believers understood the rapture teaches us much. The early believers weren't mere passive recipients of Jesus' teaching. They studied, meditated on, and lived in light of the instructions he had given. They understood the urgency even as the details remained a mystery. In the letters of Paul, Peter, and John, we see repeated calls to be vigilant, to live holy lives, and to anticipate Christ's return. Paul writes to the Thessalonians with words that echo Jesus' first instruction, reminding them that the Lord will come like a thief in the night and urging them to remain alert, sober, and faithful. The early church caught the significance of readiness, understanding that the rapture wasn't a distant story, but an immediate reality that shaped their behavior, choices, and devotion. They saw that faithfulness was active, not passive. It wasn't enough to believe. They had to live in expectation. They were called to be watchful, to pray continually, and to encourage one another in love, so that no one would grow weary or lose hope. The early believers understood that the rapture was interwoven with God's character and the readiness of his people. It was a divine convergence where eternity would break into time, and only those whose hearts were prepared would fully enter into its promises. Their understanding was practical and relational. They were aware of the corruption in the world, but they refused to be consumed by fear or despair. They saw the signs, lived faithfully, and held fast to the hope of meeting Jesus face to face. This understanding was passed down through generations. The instruction Jesus gave was never meant to remain hidden forever. The apostles, inspired by the Spirit, ensured that the early church would understand the importance of living in anticipation. They emphasized prayer, holiness, accountability, and community. They highlighted that the rapture isn't just an event to be anticipated in isolation, but a communal experience that requires spiritual unity, encouragement, and the cultivation of love. The early church's understanding of Jesus' first instruction reveals the depth of his message. It wasn't about speculation or curiosity. It was about shaping a people who live in alignment with God's will, who are ready for the eternal reality that could arrive at any moment. As we study how the early believers understood the rapture, we gain insight into how we should approach it today. We see that it isn't a theoretical concept, but a living truth meant to influence every aspect of our lives. Jesus' first instruction is as relevant now as it was then. It calls us to watchfulness, to holiness, to prayer, to discernment, and to a life lived in hope and expectation. It challenges us to examine our hearts, our priorities, and our readiness for the moment when he returns. The early believers teach us that the rapture isn't just a future event. It's a present reality, shaping our choices, our character, and our devotion to Jesus each day. Living today in light of Jesus' instruction transforms us. Understanding Jesus' first instruction about the rapture isn't enough if it doesn't transform how we live today. The call to readiness is a call to action, a daily invitation to align our hearts with his, to embrace a life that reflects his holiness, love, and vigilance. Each morning becomes an opportunity to ask ourselves, am I living in a way that would welcome Jesus at any moment? Am I spiritually awake, alert, and prepared to meet him face to face? Living in light of his instruction is cultivating a faith life that's visible, practical, and transformative. It's letting every decision, every interaction, every choice be guided by the reality of eternity, rather than the temporary distractions of this world. Jesus' instruction calls us to vigilance in prayer. Prayer is more than words. It's communion with him, a conversation that strengthens our hearts, sharpens our discernment, and keeps us attuned to the movement of the Spirit. A life of prayer fosters spiritual vigilance, allowing us to recognize the signs of the times, to hear his voice amid the noise of the world, and to respond with faith and obedience. Prayer, coupled with the study of Scripture, becomes a shield and a lamp, illuminating our path and fortifying our hearts against complacency and distraction. Holiness and obedience are central to living in readiness. Jesus didn't instruct his followers to be passive observers of prophecy. He called them to be active participants in God's life. This means living with integrity, humility, and love, reflecting his character in every interaction. It means turning away from sin, seeking forgiveness, and walking in the Spirit with a heart fully devoted to him. The world may offer comfort in compromise, but true readiness comes from the courage to follow Jesus wholeheartedly, to prioritize his kingdom above all else, and to live in a state of perpetual expectancy. Community also matters in preparation. Jesus didn't call his followers to solitude in anticipation. He built a family, a church, a body of believers who encourage one another, hold each other accountable, and remind each other of the hope that is coming. As we surround ourselves with those who share a passion for his return, we strengthen our vigilance, foster mutual encouragement, and live out the practical realities of his teaching. The rapture is a personal encounter with Christ, but it's also communal, and we're called to prepare together to inspire one another and to lift up those who may grow weary or distracted. Living today in light of Jesus' instruction is a life of balance, being aware of the signs but not consumed by fear, living in holiness but not in isolation, embracing anticipation but not anxiety. It's a life grounded in the certainty of his promises, guided by his Spirit and focused on eternity. Each day becomes a practice in readiness, each choice an opportunity to live as those who expect him, and each moment a chance to deepen our intimacy with Jesus. This is the transformative power of his first instruction about the rapture. It changes how we live now so that we can be ready for what is to come. Jesus' first instruction about the rapture is more than prophecy. It's a lifeline, a call, and a promise that continues to echo through time. He spoke not to instill fear, but to awaken, not to confuse, but to prepare, and not to entertain curiosity, but to transform lives. From the hidden context of his teaching to the clarity of his words, from the signs and conditions leading to the rapture to the example of the early believers, every aspect of this instruction invites us to a deeper relationship with him and a higher standard of spiritual readiness. The rapture isn't merely a future event to be anticipated. It's a present reality that shapes how we live today. Jesus calls us to watchfulness, holiness, prayer, discernment, and community. He calls us to examine our hearts, realign our priorities, and live in a way that reflects his kingdom. To embrace his instruction is to live fully awake, fully aware, and fully devoted, knowing that the moment of his return could come at any time. As you reflect on this message, let it stir your heart and renew your commitment to living in readiness. Let it inspire hope, ignite faith, and deepen your love for Jesus. The promise of the rapture isn't distant, it's imminent and carries eternal significance for those who are prepared. Each day is an opportunity to respond, to live faithfully, and to walk in anticipation of the greatest reunion imaginable. Jesus' first instruction about the rapture is a divine invitation to be ready, to be watchful, and to live with eternity in view. Let us not wait. Let us not delay, and let us not grow weary. Let us live each day as those who are ready to meet him, knowing that his return will be glorious, transformative, and eternal. This is the message he gave, the call he issued, and the hope he offers to every believer who chooses to embrace it. Live in the light of his instruction, and be ready, for the Son of Man is coming, and his promise is true. Please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this message if it touched your heart. Remember, time is short, and eternity is long. Be ready. The bridegroom is returning, and only those with oil in their lamps will enter the wedding feast of the Lamb.